Hello, it's Friday and I'm here and I did it again. I clicked the button again and I am live again. I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes to see if anyone is going to join me on my live today. And if not, then I will just keep talking and create a little recording for you, which some of you may watch later. So I can't believe I clicked the button again. I just first want to start by saying a massive thank you. Thank you so much from my heart, because last week I did my first live Facebook video last Friday. I was terrified, but I did it. And I was so delighted by the support and the comments and feedback and messages I received. Oh my God. Just thank you so much. People encouraging me, but mostly people telling me that they were inspired by me getting out of my comfort zone and doing my first Facebook video. People telling me that they were inspired to go live for the first time, and also that they were inspired to stretch their comfort zones in other ways. And that just means so much to me, because I really believe that it's so powerful when we do stretch our comfort zones. So hi everyone who's watching. Hi Mariette, hi. Oh, thank you for being with me today. Thank you so much. Give me some hearts and some thumbs. This is all still very new to me and I'm just getting used to it, but I promised myself I'd do it again, because my temptation was, after doing this last time, I gave myself a pat on the back and I was like, yeah, you did it, you faced your fear, you went live. Hi Katie, thank you for the hearts, thank you so much. It's really nice when you're talking to the screen and you see the little hearts going by. It really does make you feel supported and loved, so thank you. Yeah, so I did my first video last week, and like I was just saying, I was so delighted with all the feedback and the comments and the messages I received from people. It means so much to me. But even with all of that, I kind of wanted to run and hide, take cover and never do it again. It's like, that's what happens when you face your fear. Sometimes it really triggers you in a massive way and brings up even more fears. And the easy option is to run for cover and never do it again, which I nearly did. And all these parts of me came up. All these excuses started coming up. Right, you've done it now, you don't need to do it again. But I put them to the side and said, no, I'm doing it again, because I know a secret. I know that by facing our fears and actually befriending our fears, we can really get to where we want to go. And that's exactly why I'm doing it again. Now, from the feedback I got from last week, it seems that a lot of people resonated with that message. Thank you so much for the hearts. Keep them coming. I love them. It seems that a lot of people resonated with that fear and that staying in your comfort zone and not wanting to get out of your comfort zone. But a lot of you feel that urge, like something's pulling you to get out of your comfort zone, whether it's making a change in your life, going for a new job, getting up on a stage and speaking, whatever it is, something's calling you to do it, even though it terrifies you. And there's a reason why you're being called to do it. There's a reason why facing your fears is so good for you. And it's because befriending your fears can actually lead you to everything you ever wanted. I mean, I learned this over the last few years. I learned it a long time ago now, and I'm still on this journey of facing my fears, and it's such a powerful journey. Say hi to me if you're watching. I can see there's some of you watching, and I'd love to know who's there and say hello. So I'm just talking about, after my first live last week, how amazing the feedback was, and how despite all the amazing feedback, still a lot of fears came up. Like, still these voices came up in my head, like, oh yeah, but you're not good enough, and all these things, other people are better than you. And what I know now is that that's not really me talking. Those voices and those doubts and those bits that get triggered when you get out of your comfort zone, that's not the real me. That's the real me is this person who has a mission. Morning, Daryl. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being with me again today. And thank you for all the hearts. I love them. Keep them coming. So the part that gets triggered when you do something and step outside of your comfort zone, it's not the real you. It's not the full you. It's a small part of you. Morning, Taria. It's a small part of you that is trying to get your attention. So when you get triggered by anything, and fear for me is a huge trigger, and for a lot of people, judging by the feedback that I got last week, fear can be a huge trigger. But there's other triggers in life. It can be circumstances in your life, anything that comes up for you can be a trigger to lead you within yourself. But today I'm talking about fear because this has been a huge one for me, and using these lives as an example as well. Last week when I did my first live, I was terrified, but I did it, and it did cause lots of fears to come up, and it did cause lots of self-judgment. And what I've learned over the years is that I can befriend my fear, and it can actually lead me on a journey to finding the parts of myself that need my attention, that need my healing. And it can lead me into more of myself, which actually leads me into the life that I am really meant to live. And you can do the same thing. I used to be so consumed by fear. It was such a big part of my life. I know I talked a little bit last week about back then when there would be some days when I couldn't even leave the house because of anxiety attacks to go and pick up my son from school, and I would make excuses and say he was ill and try and get friends to bring him home for me because this anxiety overtook me so much. But it went way back even before that. I remember when I was going for my first job interviews, I nearly had I nearly got a really good job being a website manager for a really good school in Brighton. I was through to the interviews. I managed to get my way through the first set of interviews. I got called back for the second set, and the first set of interviews had been so terrifying for me because this fear was so massive for me and this anxiety that I didn't go back to the second interview. So I let that job just go. I let that opportunity just go because this fear, it was so huge. It was so huge. And that's just one example. There were so many things in my life that I ran away and hid from because the fear was too big. And I was so scared of the fear. I was so scared of this anxiety, of it taking over me. And I used to honestly believe that the anxiety was happening to me, that this was something out of my control. This is just who I am. I'm an anxious person. I suffer from anxiety. This fear happens to me. And I really believed that for a long time. And as I said, it led all these years to me sometimes not being able to leave the house to go on the school run. And because of this massive anxiety over nothing, it was like I was scared. I thought I would faint in the street just because of the symptoms of anxiety. It really overtook my life, and it got so much that I asked for help. You know, I couldn't carry on like this. It was ridiculous. And I asked for help, and I asked Source or God or whatever you want to call it, that power that's intelligence, that non-physical help that's there. Please help me. I can't carry on like this. And I was so open to it. I was so open to changing, even though I didn't know how. Something called me to want to get past this fear, this debilitating, paralyzing fear. And in the magic way that the universe has of supporting us when we ask for help and we are open to help, it did help me. It helped me in the form of the book that I mentioned last week, which kind of came into my life really magically. And that's how these things tend to happen when you're aligned with Source and you're working with these non-physical energies. This book, Excuses Be Gone, came along, which opened my eyes so much to the fact that this fear wasn't happening to me. This fear was an excuse. It was me, my small mind, holding me back from my full potential and holding me back from all that was available to me and all that I really was. And then it went further, and I worked with an amazing coach back then, years ago, called Freeman Michaels. He's based in the US. He's amazing, and he helped me to see a lot of truths around this fear as well. And one thing that I learned was that the fear was like these small parts of me. It wasn't the real me. It was these little parts of me that I've made over the years. It was like these constructs, these little, I think of them as like mini-me's, these little me, like anxious Linda and not worthy Linda, unworthy Linda, and these other parts of me that I'd constructed, and we all have them, these parts that we construct over the years in response to the world. You know, even when we're children, even when we don't know that we're doing it, we create these little personas who don't feel good enough, or who are scared, or who feel incapable of doing things. And we don't know they're in there, but they're kind of running the show a lot of the time until we get conscious and until we tune into this bigger part of ourselves. They're running the show there. And one thing Freeman used to say is, who's driving the bus, you know? And what I learned about myself was, when I was in this fear and this anxiety, it wasn't me, the real me, the soul, who is in control of everything and has available all the support in the universe. It wasn't the real me driving the bus. I was letting this little child part of me take over and drive the bus. This part of me that didn't feel capable and didn't feel in control. And by just learning that it was just a part of me that I had constructed in response to my experience of life somewhere along the way, suddenly I felt so much more in control. It was a bit like taking out a torch and shining a light under the bed when you're scared of the monsters and finding out that there's no monsters there at all. You know, this big thing you've been scared of, actually, it doesn't exist. You know, this fear, it wasn't real. And it was just a really small part of me that was scared, not all of me. That's what I learned. It doesn't stop it from feeling real, don't get me wrong. I can see a lot of you are watching. Hi, and do say hi, please, and let me know if you're there, because it's really nice to know that there are people here with me. And if you resonate with anything I'm saying, if you've experienced anything I'm saying, then let me know and give me some likes and some hearts. That would be great. Hi, Katie. Thank you so much. Mwah, thank you for being here with me. So this was so powerful, because I learned that when something happened in my life that triggered that part of me, that fear part of me, it happened for a reason. It happened so that I could pay attention to that part of me, because that part of me wanted my attention and wanted its needs met. Like those little parts of us, those little children, they are literally like children, and they have needs. There's something they never got in life. Something they never got when you were them, when you were younger, whenever that part of you was developed, that they need. And they need your love. You can give them everything they need. They need your attention, your healing, your integration. Then they can become a part of you, and you're in control, this big you. How do we do that? Well, I did that by working with some great people, some great coaches who helped me to do that. And I would really recommend, if this is calling to you and you feel like you're being called forward for more, like there's fear there that's holding you back, but you really want to move forward and you want to befriend your fear and let it lead you to those parts of yourself that are calling for your attention, work with somebody. In fact, just ask the universe, what am I meant to do next? Because the universe always has your back. Like my great friend Natasha said yesterday in her live video, and if you haven't watched her videos yet, then go and watch them. I highly recommend them. The universe always has your back. When you need help and you ask for help, there's this magic constantly happening when you're open to it, and the universe will bring you what you need. So if you're open to that help, a way will come. The person you are meant to work with will come, who can lead you through that process. There are so many amazing coaches, healers, tools, resources out there. And when you're open to them and you tune in and you follow the guidance in whatever form it may come, you will be led to exactly where you need to be to get that help. Even watching this video today may be a part of that for you. If it resonates with you, it may be triggering something in you, and it may be bringing your attention to a part of you that is calling you for attention, to be loved, to be accepted, to be integrated. And you can open up today and ask for that help to come. and to lead you on that journey, because this is a journey I've been on for over 10 years now, of finding those parts of myself and doing this inner healing work, which is so important if we want to truly expand into all we can be and all we're capable of and all we're meant to be and all we really are. Because we are not this fear, we are not these small parts of ourselves that hold us back. We are so much more than that, and life is really a journey for us to explore and discover, and as Natasha said so wonderfully in her live yesterday, to reclaim those parts of ourselves and bring them all on board in the bus and put them in the back seat so we can take over and we can drive the bus. By we, I mean the you that is you with a capital letter, yourself, your soul, the true you, the fully integrated you who's here with a purpose and a mission and to shine your light, and nothing can hold you back. But this is all part of the process. There's, we all have those mini-me's, we all have those little parts of ourselves. And by befriending your fear, rather than running away from fear and making it wrong, you can allow your fear to lead you to those parts, to know exactly what needs to be looked at and what needs to be healed. Oh, Mariette says, I used to be agoraphobe. Word in English is Mariette's French. My lovely friend Mariette. The word in English is agoraphobic, Mariette. So she says, I know the feelings, to be brave, to be strong. The solution is inside us. And that's exactly what I'm saying. It's so true. The solution is inside us. I totally agree with you, Mariette. And I feel for you. Agoraphobia is I only had a glimpse of being afraid to leave the house, of that anxiety, and even that little glimpse it felt paralyzing. And I do believe that the bigger the fear gets, the more we're being called to go within, to look at what's calling us within and what needs our attention and what needs our love and our acceptance. And if you open up and ask the universe, then that support will come. And what exactly the person you need to work with will come magically. This is kind of how it works when you open up and ask for that assistance and that support and that help. A book will appear, a person will appear, somebody will happen to mention a name, or you'll hear about something, and it will help you to go on that journey, allow your fear, befriend your fear. Don't make it wrong. Don't try and run away from it, and allow it to guide you to those parts of yourself that need your attention, need your love, and need your healing. So this was quite some years ago now. I'm talking 9-10 years ago that I suffered from, but I know it was just a part of me that was suffering from this fear, this major anxiety. And as I said, I was led to this book, Excuses Be Gone, by Dr. Wayne Dyer, which was amazing. And I mentioned it last time, and read it if you have any issues with fear or anxiety holding you back, then it's an amazing book. And I worked with Freeman Michaels, an amazing coach in the US. And I discovered that I didn't have to suffer from fear. Fear did not control me. And it wasn't me, the big me with a capital M, my soul, who suffered from this fear. It was just a tiny part of me. It was just this one little aspect of me. And I could be like the parent, and I could take control and stop letting that aspect of me drive the bus, put her in the back seat, take care of her, give her what she needed. And I could be in control of that bus. And it was so empowering. If any of you have ever been debilitated by fear, then you know how empowering it is to know that it's not all of you who's suffering from that fear. It's not your whole being who's suffering from that fear. It's just a little part of you. I know it feels like it's all of you. I have been there. I have had to run out of a presentation because I was shaking, because I was so controlled by fear. And I, as I mentioned earlier, I didn't go back for a second interview for an amazing job because I was so taken over by fear. But just learning that fear was just a small part of me, even though it felt like a massive part of me, gave me the opportunity to choose to not be tuned into that part of me by saying, hey, I see you there. I can feel you and I can hear you, and I know you're scared, but I'm in control. Like talking from an observer point of view, like from my soul's point of view, it's changed everything. It gave me space to breathe, and to suddenly everything shifted, and I realized I can be the parent to these parts of me, like me, the soul, the observer. This might sound really crazy and woo-woo to some of you if you're not into this stuff, but it's so true and it's so real and it's changed my life. I can be in control of this, and by doing that, like shining a light on the monsters under the bed and finding out they're not real, suddenly it changed everything and that fear diminished and it was so much smaller. But that's not to say it went away. This is not how it works. It doesn't just disappear and I'm never scared of anything again. It just changed my view of fear. Whereas before, fear was something to be hated and loathed and I just wanted to get rid of it, I changed my view and I realised fear wasn't something to be loathed or to get rid of. Fear could be my friend and could lead me to exactly where I needed to be in life. And it's got to the point now where I almost welcome that feeling. You know, if something scares me, I almost want to go and do it because I know it's going to lead me to more of myself. And I'm not just talking about any fear. I'm not talking about if you're in real danger. You know, there's a difference. I'm talking about that fear, which has that slight undertone of possibility and excitement and a fear that really could lead you to something amazing, a fear that you feel is calling you forward. And now when I get that feeling, like doing these lives are a great example, I want to run away and I want to hide and I want to say, no, I don't want to do it because it's scary. But I keep going and I call myself forward and I say I'm going to befriend my fear. Because the fear still keeps coming even on this journey, but it leads you more and more and more into more of yourself. And it's like your energy is expanding and growing and you're becoming more of all you can be every time. And it feels amazing. And that's why we do it, because it's like you're discovering these parts of yourself and it allows you to become more of yourself. And as you become more of yourself, your world becomes more. The opportunities that come to you become greater. The happiness inside you and the joy becomes greater. The peace inside you becomes greater. The love inside you becomes greater. The relationships becomes enriched and beautiful. And your friendships, your family, the experiences that open up to you when you befriend your fears and you say yes and you go on this journey, and you let that ocean take you, you go with the waves and you don't run away in fear and hide, it opens up your whole world. Like it leads you within yourself when you befriend your fear and it opens up a whole new world of possibility. And so we're talking a lot of years ago now that I went through those first experiences. And after I have to tell you another little story, after I read that book, Excuses Be Gone, I said to the universe, bring it on, I'm ready to face my fears. And boy, did the universe respond, because not very long later, I had an invitation. I was working with, and I still work with, my amazing friend Lulu Massey. She, at the time, had just started doing her Juicy Living tour in the US, where she was living at the time. She was traveling around the US. I'll try and make this story quite short because I know I've been talking for a long time. I had submitted one of my children's books that I've been writing, because I love writing books as well as creating artwork and everything else I do. I'd submitted it to a publisher in the US, and they were interested in talking to me. They were really interested. We'd been emailing backwards and forwards, and it turns out that they were going to be in the part of the United States where Lulu was going to be the following week. And I'd mentioned it to her, and she'd said, come over and spend some time with me. She invited me to come and stay with her in the US while she was doing her tour. This might not seem like a very big deal to you. I don't know. I know your situation. It might not sound like a very big deal, but oh my God, I was excited and I was so scared in probably equal measures, though the fear maybe was bigger. It felt bigger, I know that for sure, because I'd never been anywhere on my own, like literally. I'd never even been on a plane till I was 17. I'd never left the UK till I was 17, when my lovely now husband, then boyfriend Michael, took me to Zimbabwe for an amazing summer. And obviously in the years since we've been to various places on family holidays, I had never travelled anywhere on my own. In fact, I'm with Mike a lot of the time, with my family a lot of the time. I'm a real family person. I'm a mum of 4. I was a mum of 3 back when this happened. And I was terrified when I was invited to get on a plane on my own and fly to the US. I would have to change at Washington, get a connection, fly to Colorado, which is where Lily would be. And when she asked me, I said yes. even though I was terrified, because A, it was an amazing opportunity. I'd never been to America before. I'd never met Lulu in person before. And B, I knew the universe was answering my call. When I said bring it on, the universe really answered my call. And so I said yes. And then I went to Mike and I cried and I said, I don't think I can do it. It's so scary. Because I was literally overtaken with fear at the thought of getting on a plane on my own and flying to America. Without Mike, without my family, I didn't do anything on my own. I didn't really go anywhere on my own. And I'd never done anything like it before. And the fear was massive. And I said to Mike, I don't know if I can go. And he said, but you know, you have to, because he really gets this journey as well and always supports me in everything I do. And I'm so blessed and I love him so much. And he said, you know, you have to. But then being the protector that he is, he also said, if you want, I can fly over there secretly and be in a hotel just down the road in case you need me. And for a while it sounded tempting, but then we both realised that that wasn't really what this was all about. This was about me doing this on my own. But when she asked me to come to America just for a week, and this might not sound like a very big deal to a lot of you, if you've travelled on your own and you do stuff like that, and it's not a big deal, but it was huge for me. It was massive. I had never been anywhere on my own before, and it triggered so much fear in me. And I decided to use this as an opportunity to go to befriend that fear and to go into that fear, even while I was feeling that fear, and say, okay, so where are you leading me? What parts of me is this? And it was this little girl who was just a little girl and didn't know how to do things on her own. She'd never done things on her own before. And I had to put her in the back seat and I had to take control and I had to do it. And even though I barely slept for days beforehand, because I was flooded with nerves and stress hormones and worrying about everything, missing my flight and not knowing what to do when I get there, and all these things and all these thoughts were going around in my head, but I just kept saying yes, and I did it. And I cried at the airport, but I got on that plane and I had the most amazing week ever. Like, it was the biggest adventure and I loved every minute of it, even though I was scared. And so many times I was terrified, and the universe kept sending people to help me. The universe sent people to help me make my connections and make sure. And I got there and we had an amazing week. And there's an extra little bit to this story, because then I found out that while I had faced my biggest fears, after asking the universe to bring it on and bring me more fears to face so I could befriend them, because I had learned that befriending my fears would invite in more of me and let me expand into more of myself, and in turn that would be reflected in my world and would open up my world. So the universe had brought me this opportunity to go to America on my own for a week, which for those of you I can see just joining me, absolutely terrified me. I had never been anywhere on my own before. I'm just talking about how I learned that befriending my fear was much better than running away and hiding from my fear. And I'm giving the example that after suffering from anxiety for years and fear and allowing it to take over my life to the point where I had not gone to job interviews and sometimes I couldn't leave my house because I was terrified, how I then learned that this fear did not have to completely rule my life, that I could be in control of it. There was just a little part of me and that if I allowed the fear to lead me to that part that wanted my attention and my healing, that it would open up my life and allow me to become more of me. I had learned this and I had challenged the universe to bring it on, and the universe really brought it on by bringing me this opportunity to go and spend a week in Colorado with Lilu. And I said yes, and I went, and I did have the most amazing week of my life. And the added little bit of magic was that while I was there, Lilu was going to be interviewing James Redfield, who wrote the Celestine Prophecy, which was actually the book which was such a huge influence in my life. If any of you have read that book, let me know and give me some hearts and likes. It's such an amazing book, and it was one of my first really powerful books on my awakening journey. And Lilu was going to be interviewing him while I was there in Colorado with her, and I was able to meet him and be at the interview with her, which was just like the universe saying to me, see, when you face your fears, when you befriend your fears, we will magic will happen. And that was the magic happening. And not just that, but it really, because it had been so huge for me to do this and to travel on my own and face such a big fear and befriend such a big fear, and it allowed me to find this part of myself and integrate this part of myself. It opened up my whole life. The year that followed that was amazing. Like, everything in my life changed. It was my best year ever. It was like I was expanded. I literally was expanded. Energetically, I was expanded. Everything expanded. My business took off. Creatively, I was on fire. I started painting and selling paintings. We moved house. We went on an adventure. Our relationship got even better. Life was amazing. And I know inside myself that was largely down to this journey I had launched myself onto, of befriending my fear and becoming like a yes woman, and going where my fear led me and allowing it to lead me to the parts of me that needed my attention, that needed to be loved and accepted and healed and integrated, which allowed me to become more of who I really am, which was in turn reflected in my life. And that's the journey I've been on ever since. And it's not like you do it once and then there's no fear, but it's like you stop being scared of the fear, and the fear does become less. The fear now, it's like it's there, and I know this means something good. This means that it's time for me to expand again. There's more of me. It's like digging deeper. I'm finding more parts of me now that need to be found and uncovered and loved and integrated. And the deeper this befriending my fear journey takes me, the more into this whole sea of possibility I dive. And it's so reflected in my life, in the amazing people that come into my life and the amazing opportunities that constantly come in, the way my business expands. And it can be the same for you, and fear may not be necessarily an issue for you, but I know it was for a lot of people who watched my live last week and told me that they resonated with my message, that they too felt this fear, and that they really resonated with that, and that they felt called to face their fear. And that's why today I wanted to talk more about, go deeper into that, and more about why it's so great to face your fear and befriend your fear, and why befriending your fear is a good thing. And how, if you ask the universe and say, I'm ready, bring it on, the universe will totally have your back and support you and bring you exactly what you need. You just have to be open, and you just have to ask, because the universe is always working in your favor. And there are so many tools and amazing people and books, and everything you need is out there. And when you tune in and ask for that help, it will just magically appear. That's how it works. It will. And when you're open to it, it will magically appear. As if by magic is like my favorite phrase, because my life happens as if by magic when I'm tuned into that flow and that stream. And this befriending my fear journey it's just been amazing for me. And I would love to hear from anyone else who resonates with this and who has befriended their fear, or who feels called to befriend their fear. Is that you? Is there something that you feel called to do that terrifies you and you kind of want to run for cover and hide? Like, if you feel like that's really something that's meant for you, even though it's scary, I highly recommend that you befriend that fear. You find a way, you ask the universe to bring you what you need to be able to befriend that fear, and do it, because it will expand you and it will expand your life, and it will open you up to whole realms of possibility. If I look back 10 years and I looked at my life now, I would not believe where I am and who I am and the things I do, and how much I've grown, and how much my business has grown, and how much my creativity has grown, and the amount of love and peace and joy in my life. I feel so blessed, and people always say to me, you're so lucky, and I am, but luck takes inner work too. And I believe that I'm blessed and I'm lucky because I'm committed to doing that inner work. And, it's not like I don't have challenges. And I'm talking today about how fear and befriending your fear can lead you to these small parts of yourself, like little children, that may be running the show without you knowing it. these parts of you that you developed in response to life. So there might be fearful parts, there might be parts that are ashamed, there might be parts that feel unworthy. We've all got these parts. They're parts that we build up in response to life. They're like little mini-me's that you don't even know are running the show until you become the observer, until you let fear lead you there and show you this, and you realise that part of me is running the show, but that's not the real me, because the real you is this bigger part of you that is so called to do something that little part of you is trying to hold you back from. And when you tune into the real part of you, the bigger you find these little parts of you and you gather them up like children, and you allow the universe to bring you what you need to heal and integrate those parts of you and put them in the back seat so that you're driving the bus and you're in control. And that is the journey to becoming more of you, more of who you really are, and getting those parts out of the way so that you can just flourish and your life can just become so amazing. And now 10 years ago, I was just concerned with being able to leave my house without this anxiety overtaking me, without feeling like I was going to faint. Like that, I thought that's all I wanted. I thought I just want to be able to go and get my kids from school without this constant anxiety. I want to be able to go and do the shopping in the supermarket, for God's sake, without standing in the queue thinking I'm going to faint, having a panic attack, having palpitations. That's all I wanted in the beginning. But now 10 years later, being on this journey of befriending my fear has led me into so much more. Now my vision is, I want to run a community. I want to talk about this stuff. I want to help people. I want to spread this message, and I want to support other people in this. I want to run a community of people who are awakened and are conscious and are befriending their fear and are creating the lives of their dreams. My dream is traveling the world. My dream is so many massive adventures. Like, I'm expanded and my dreams are expanded, and I have already created so many of those dreams that I know anything is possible as long as I keep going on this journey of befriending my fears and integrating those parts of me that my fear leads me to. And that's really the journey of self-discovery and self-retrieval. And I believe that's what we're here for. I'd love to hear from you if you feel the same. I'm going to have a little scroll now, and I noticed a couple of comments. Oh my goodness, thank you all for watching. Hi everyone. Hi, say hello if you're there. Emma said, I feel that fear is a positive indicator now, because if I'm fearful of something, it's because I know I'm potentially got something to lose, which means I really want that thing, whatever it might be. That does make sense, Emma, and I do feel the same. Yeah, fear can be a really positive indicator. And she also says, I try to use fear as a motivator to take action. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Fear really, that's the same for me now. Fear, that, like I say, not like if I'm faced with a lion, I'm going to fight it. Not that kind of fear, not actual fear of a real danger. But let's face it, in the world that we live in, there's not that many of those. I'm talking about that fear that comes up when you're called to do something different, stretch outside your comfort zone, go on Facebook Live, stand on a stage and speak, leave your job, declare your love, whatever it is that terrifies you, but underneath you kind of have that voice telling you, this is for you, this is what you're meant to do, this is where you're meant to be. That voice calling you to do it, even though you're terrified. Yes, say yes and do it, because it can lead you to the greatest you ever. It can lead you to feel so expanded and so powerful. I totally agree with you there. And thank you again for watching. Doing these Facebook Lives is a real experience for me. This is my second one now. If you didn't catch last week's, then go and watch it, because it's kind of an introduction to what I was talking about today. And if you enjoyed this, then let me know. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments or send me a message. And I would love it if you would give me a like and share this with any of your friends. Mariette says, beautiful message and mission. Thanks for sharing. Thank you so much, Mariette, my lovely friend. I'm so grateful that you're here with me and watching, and it means a lot. It's lovely to have you here. Susie, hi Susie. Wonderful to see you speaking live. This is so valuable, Linda. Fear has stopped me doing so much in the past. I had an opportunity to go to America for a job in January, but I declined with so many. Oh, it's cut the rest off. with so many excuses. Listening to you speak, I realised it was just fear making me put obstacles and enough reasons to justify that I wasn't meant to go. But deep down, I know it would have opened up so many opportunities for me. I love what you have shared, that it is just a small part of us that can be moved to the back of the bus. Thank you. You're so welcome. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. And it's so valuable that you've recognised what was going on there, and that, you know, don't make yourself wrong for that. There are so many things that I have run away from and I have hidden under the covers and said no to. And one day maybe I will talk about some of those as well. And it's like the opportunities will come around again if you stay open to it. And it's still shone that light for you, you know. Now that allows you to go in and see what part was it that was coming up and wanting my attention. I've written a poem about this. I wish I'd got it out. I feel like reading it, but I don't think I can recall it all. But I'll post it in the comments afterwards. And it went along the lines of, as I wake and face the day, I wonder who'll come out to play. Which little Linda will I see saying, hey, I'm here, it's me. And then I went on to describe the little me's, because there are so many, you know, and fearful Linda is just one of them. And then there's unworthy Linda, and then there's like victim Linda, and there's all these Lindas who can come up in response to situations in life. And fear's a massive one for me, but it's not the only one, you know. And these parts of us getting triggered by situations in life, whether it's illness, whether it's relationship situations, whether it's money situations, whether it's opportunities that bring up fear, which is what I'm talking about today. They are just there to lead us into these parts of us that need our love and attention. And Susie, I have no doubt that as now you've shone a light on that part of yourself, if you keep looking at her and don't just like, you know, don't just shove her back in a box, put her in the back seat, but take care of her, give her what she needs, and ask the universe, how can you support me, and how can I support that part of myself, and what needs to be done now? Then next time that opportunity comes up, or an even bigger opportunity will come up, because you will have integrated that part of yourself and you will have expanded into so much more of what's available for you. And that's just magic. Like, that's the work. Our whole world is like a feedback system for what's going on inside. Our whole world is like a mirror, really, for what's going on inside. And that's not to say that we have no control over what's going on outside. Of course we do, but we can allow our world to lead us within to the parts of ourselves that need our attention. It's when you choose to see life that way, that's how it works, and it's magical if you choose that path. And I love that you've recognised that, Susie, and thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for everyone who's commented. If anyone else has any comments, please feel free to share them. You know, has fear held you back from something? Are you being told it's time to take control and to see where the fear is leading you, see what parts of you need your attention and your love and your acceptance, and see how that can open up your life and lead you to who you really are and more of yourself, or more of the juicy stuff. You know, we want more of the juicy stuff, because if we don't do this, if we say no and we keep hiding, then we just become stagnant. Well, I feel I do. When I don't do it, it's almost like staying in my comfort zone becomes more uncomfortable than being out of my comfort zone, than stretching my comfort zone, because I just get bored and I just feel like this isn't me. I have this energy that I'm not using, and I have this stuff flowing through me that wants to be birthed, and it's like a compulsion. I have to keep going forward. I have to keep befriending these fears, and it is magic, and I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm so excited about where it's leading me to, and I'm excited about where it can lead you to. So I would love to hear your feedback, and message me if you have any questions. Please share this video if you think it will be useful to anyone you know. And once again, thank you for supporting me and being here with me. It means so much, because doing these lives has been a huge thing for me and a huge getting out of my comfort zone. But I'm really loving it. And it's amazing. Thank you, Emma. Thank you for being here with me. And if anyone has anything particular they'd like me to expand on or talk about next time, I will be live again next Friday. So just send me a message and let me know. Thank you so much for being here. Have an amazing day and go befriend your fears. Mwah.